brothers and sisters in the dispersion out there. How are you today? I'm Brother James Lundberg. Um, we're going to talk about the name, the truth, the true names: Yahuwah, the Father; Yahusha, the Son; the Messiah, the Mashiach. Yahuwah's name is found 6,223 times in the Tanakh. That's the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. The name of the Son is found 216 times. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Yirmiyahu chapter 23. Or we're going to start in Exodus. We're just going to start in Exodus chapter 3. And we're going to start with, we're going to see Moshe's talking to Yahuwah. And he said, because I am with you, and this is to you the sign that I have sent you when you brought the people out of Mitzrayim, you are to serve Elohim on this mountain. And Moshe said to Elohim, see, when I come to the children of Yasharel and say to them, the Elohim of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? And Elohim said to Moshe, Ahaya Ashir Ahaya, which means I am who I am. This is Yahuwah talking in the first person, because he's the only one who can say I am. Okay? And he said, thus you shall say to the children of Yasharel, Yahuwah has sent me to you. And Elohim said further to Moshe, thus you are to say to the children of Yasharel, Yahuwah, Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzhak, the Elohim of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever and is my remembrance to all generations. All generations is forever. Go, and you shall gather the elders of Yasharel together and say to them, Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, of Yitzhak, and of Jacob, appeared to me, saying, I have indeed visited you, and see what is done to you in Mitzrayim. And I say, I am bringing you up out of the affliction of Mitzrayim to the land of the Canaanite, and the Kittite, and the Amorite, and the Perizzite, and the Kui, and the Jebusite, in the land, to the land flowing with milk and honey, and they shall listen to your voice, and you shall come, you and the elders of Yasharel, to the sovereign of Mitzrayim, and you shall say to him, Yahuwah Elohim of the Hebrews has met with us, and now please let us go 3 Yam Journey into the wilderness to slaughter to Yahuwah. Sacrifice for the covering of sin. The blood sacrifice of animals was a temporary covering of sin, which is what Yahusha was going to come to do when he came the first time around, was to be that final blood sacrifice, because without the shedding of blood, there is no remission of sin. See, some people have this idea that Yahuwah of the Tanakh is not the same Elohim that Yahusha speaks of in the renewed covenant writings. Number one, what writings did the disciples and Yahusha and Shaul have before the Brit Hadashah, the renewed covenant writings? Tanakh. Where did they preach from? Tanakh. They didn't preach from, Shaul just wrote this last week. Oh, Peter just wrote this the other day. No. They proved from the Torah, the prophet, the Nabi, and the other writings that Yahusha is Yahuwah, that he is the deliverer, That's the only one that brings salvation. Yahuwah is our salvation. In Yahusha, the Son, through him, by the blood that he shed upon the stake, that covers our sin. What was nailed to the stake? Not the Torah. No, 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 no. The handwritten of ordinance against you are sin. The sins that are against you. Sin is what was nailed to the stake, not Torah. Sin. You're still in the mortal body, yes? Do you believe you're born again already? Don't believe that falsehood. You're begotten of the Father through the seed of promise by the blood of Yahusha, where the circumcision of the heart, the Torah, is written on there. You are empowered by the favor of Yahuwah to obey Torah. I'm not saying you have to be absolutely to the letter. No. No. That's not freedom. That would be enslavement again. But I would prefer to be a slave to the Torah than a slave to religion. Now, let's go back into the names more. Let's go to Yirmiyahu 23:27. These are just little things that I've got to say because Yahuwah is directing me through the Ruach HaKodesh. I don't speak of my own because I am no one. I am of no reputation. I am of no big thing. I'm not anybody special. I'm not an elegant speaker. I don't have an abundant supply of wealth or any of those kinds of things. What I do have is the Ruach HaKodesh dwelling in me. My heart has been circumcised. There's 7 feasts. These are shadow pictures of what is good, the good things to come. Dawood says that the Torah is good. Now, were we going to say that Dawood was wrong in saying that the Torah is good? No, forbid that. That wouldn't be right. If Dawood says the Torah is good, it's good. It's not evil. It's not hard either. It's very simple. So we're going to tie the names in with obedience to the Torah because without the name, you're never going to obey the Torah anyway. Okay? See, I already know this. I tried when I was a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm not going to lie, I was a Seventh-day Adventist. But long before that, I was a Satanist. Okay? I was involved in satanic things. I was in the occult. Thanks to Yahuwah, he delivered me out of the occult. Sure, I started in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I worked into the Pentecostal Church. I'd been to congregational churches. I was in the Apostolic Faith Church, the Christian, before I left Christianity completely. And the reason I left Christianity is because the reason I left Christianity is because I found all these falsehoods in Christianity. False names. A lot of pagan deities are written within the King James and the NIV and many other versions. I'm going to give you grace is one. It's the Greek deities of Charitis, Chartisos. These are this is where your trinities come from. Out of paganism. There's no trinity in the scriptures. Nowhere. You don't find a trinity there. No, there's one. Yahuwah says he is one. So where do we get a trinity? Paganism. See, the synchronism of paganism into Christianity is the reason that we have all these false practices like Christmas, Easter, and things like that. This was the blending of some truth with a bunch of falsehood. Because the church was like, oh, we've got to reach out to these people and we'll just adopt whatever things that they they do. We don't care. You cannot make something that is evil good. It doesn't work. It never will. Now, let's go on with some more about the name here. In Yoel, chapter 2:32, it says, "He who calls upon the name of Yahuwah shall be delivered," saved, whatever, rescued. And it's repeated in Acts again. And there's several places throughout Psalms, Isaiah, Proverbs, where it says we are to know His name, to love His name, to exalt His name, to praise His name, to call upon His name, to proclaim His name. Now, with all these things being said throughout Scripture, throughout the Tanakh, and even in the Brit Hadashah, the renewed covenant writings, we are to be calling upon the true given name of Yahuwah. Through saying Yahusha, we are saying Yahuwah is our salvation. Yahuwah saves. Through His Son Yahusha, by the shed blood, our sins are covered, as they were in the Tanakh. The sacrifices of animals were the temporary covering for sin, where Yahusha is a permanent covering for sin. There's your shadow picture, one shadow picture. Now, if you go and you look at all the 7 feasts of Yahuwah, that is your redemption story, is written within those 7 feasts. Yahusha came the first time as your Passover lamb. He died upon the stake. He was crucified, killed. At the same time, they were slaughtering the Passover lambs on the Temple Mount. When the last lamb was slaughtered, Yahusha died, gave up the Ruach. He did not come to life, raised from the dead on Easter Sunday morning. No, untrue. He was crucified on the 4th day of the week, which would be a Wednesday according to the pagan calendar. We don't use the pagan calendar. The 4th day of the week. So we've got the 4th day, which would be one night, because he was put in the grave just before the sun went down. So you got the 4th night, the 5th night, and the 6th night. There's 3 nights, because he said he needed to be in the grave 3 days and 3 nights. Okay, so then we got the 5th day, the 6th day, raised on the 7th day, the Sabbath, not Easter Sunday. When he raised, it was just before the sun set. When Martha and Mary them came to the tomb, and they found it empty. Okay, it was dark out already. Because when they saw Yahusha, they didn't recognize him because it was dark out. They couldn't see him. It's now the 1st day. He's already been risen. He wasn't raised on the 1st day. He was risen on the 7th day, at the end of the 3rd day. Raised on the 3rd day, the Sabbath day. Because he is the master, the sovereign of the Sabbath. He created it in the beginning. In 6 days he created the heavens and the earth, and all that is within them. And on the 7th day, the Sabbath day, he rested. He sanctified it, kodeshed it, set it apart, made it special. It's a day of rest for you and I. It's great. It's the best rest we could get. I love Yahuwah. I love his name. I like to proclaim his name. I love to proclaim the Son's name, Yahusha. I proclaim truth, not lies. I'm not going to lie to you. I have no cause to lie. It does me no good to lie to you. 1. 2, it's a sin to lie. I'm not going to lie to you. When we look at the scriptures themselves, and then we begin to look at archaeological evidence and other evidence that's out there within the history of things, we'll find that there's been a conspiracy against the name of Yahuwah and against the name of the Son, the Mashiach. The conspiracy was to cover it up. They used the word Lord, which really is the word Baal in Hebrew. It's the same thing. You say Lord, you're saying Baal. That's what Yahuwah hears. Okay, so you're worshiping a false deity, which is actually the name of the Canaanite sun deity, born on December 25th. Nonetheless, Ra, the sun deity of Egypt, born on December 25th. Zeus, the sun deity of the Greeks, born on December 25th. Sounds kind of fishy to me if you ask me. Okay, so there, right there, those are evidences of that the false worship goes on. Baal worship, Lord worship. God is another word that derives from a falsehood. It's also the sun deity of the Teutonic tribes. It was also a word used for any object of religious worship, superhuman beings included. Paganism. Why do you want to keep practicing paganism? Now, this is a good question to ask people when you ask them this. You ask them this: what have you changed in your life since you were converted to Christianity? They're going to tell you this, that, and the other thing, but you know what? You can take a look at them and say, well, then why do you still practice what the world practices? Christmas, Easter, Valentine's, birthdays. Interesting. See, they haven't changed. They're still doing the same things that they were doing when they were in the world before they were converted. False conversion. It's a false conversion. It's not truth. They're walking in lies. Falsehood. Practicing it. What does Yahuwah tell us in Deuteronomy? Don't do these things. They're abominations to him. So, and the other thing is, if you're not using his name, well, then you're doing exactly what he says we shouldn't do. We turn our ear away from the Torah because his name is in the Torah. So that's turning your ear away from the Torah. Now your prayers, as it says in Proverbs 30 and 9, are an abomination. Your prayers are an abomination even. How have we come to this point in history where there's so much lies and falsehood out there? Well, because Hashatan has used men of great renown and power that he's put in place to cover up the name, because he hates the name. The Illuminati, they're afraid of the name Yahuwah, not Anna, Yahya. There's some people out there that think Ahaya is his name. That's not his name. That's a description of what. That's a descriptive title only. It's not a name. It's a descriptive title. It's a descriptive word. Describe who he is. His name embodies his character. His name embodies who he is. Without a proper name, when you go up to somebody, when you first meet them, right? What do you ask a person when you first meet them? Oh, what's your name? What is your name? Because without a name, you can't have a relationship. I don't know any two people anywhere in the world that have a relationship and don't know each other's names. The name is the first identifier of a person or entity. That's the first indication that now you know who they are. Okay? The reality that most people want to disregard the name because, they don't think it's important. Well, okay, let's put it this way. Do you want him to get your name right in the Book of Life? Well, then you better get his name right. Because you know what? That's disrespectful to not call him by his true given name that he gave to us to call on. See, what really disturbed me years ago, and this is what made me leave Christianity, was Yoel 2:32, and it says, he who calls upon the name, and in King James this is Lord, which that's not his name anyway. Lord is Baal. Okay, I'm not going to call upon Baal. I don't don't want to have anything to do with pagan worship. Okay, I'm not of anybody of any great renown or anything like that, but I have taken much time to research and bear these things out. The evidence that is overwhelming in archaeology, history, and in the Hebrew scriptures themselves that the name Yahuwah is his name. It's been confirmed to me, I don't know how many times, the name of our Mashiach, Yahusha, has been confirmed to me over and over again too, not only through research and study, but through other ways that I don't have time to go over all of them. But I'll use a small little thing here, and he confirmed it this way. I did try to use the name Yahweh at one time, but it never had an answer for a prayer using that name. I began to just look at the Hebrew itself, not the modern, the Paleo, as I was directed to it by Yahuwah, but through the Ruach HaKodesh. And I began to look at the letters, and I know that the vowel points in the modern Hebrew, which is not modern Hebrew, it's actually Yiddish, or what you can call Aramaic, Babylonian, pagan language. The Masoretes through the 9th and the 13th century added the vowel dots, dashes, which changed and altered names and words and other things, which completely altered Scripture to where it was almost unrecognizable because it was adding to and taking away from the Word. See, Yahusha wasn't against Torah. Shaul wasn't against Torah. They were against man-made traditions that came out of Talmud by rabbis of rabbinic Judaism. And that's what you got today. You still have the same thing going on. Man-made traditions added to Torah. It's not the Torah that's evil. It's Talmud that's evil. Man-made traditions you cannot add to or take away. See, that's what he meant by putting burdens on people. Adding the man-made traditions. Altering, changing it. Okay, he says it in Deuteronomy 4:2, 12:32, Revelation 22:18 through 19, not to add to or take away from. Because if you add to, he's going to add to you the plagues, which are written in Leviticus. And he's going to take your name out of the book of life, the Lamb's book of life, out of Yahusha's book of life. See, there's a lot of issues here that are running deep because of a lot of deception that's run deep in the Christian community. Christianity is a lie. Jesus is the anti-Messiah. He comes in his own name. He's the one that Yahusha warned us not to listen to. The Roman Catholic Church has made the name Jesus the image of the beast. Live and speak. Live and speak to make us lawless. Jesus is the lawless one. Yahusha is the obedient one. He's the true Mashiach. Jesus is not the same. They are not the same character. They're completely different entities completely. Jesus is also a name that came about in 1628. It was created by the Jesuit priests of the Roman Catholic Church in order to hide the true name of the Mashiach. And it's also the name the one that comes in his very own name. Jesus has no connection to the Father Yahuwah. Where in Jesus do you find YAH, Yah, or Yahu? You don't. It's not there. Yahusha comes in the name of the Father. YAHU, Shah. Yah, YAHU, Yahu. 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 Okay? Even the prophets witness of this. Jeremy, Yahu. Yesha, Yahu. Yasha, Yahu. Eli, Yahu. 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 Many of the prophets. Okay, there's others. There's many others. There's many others, prophets, names that have Yah or Yahoo in it. Um, let's see. And even in the renewed covenant writings, you have, watch this, Metin Yahu, Yahukanan. These are the Hebrew names. And even the prime minister of Yasharel, Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, come on, come on. Begin to tell me that his name is not Yahuwah and the Messiah's name is not Yahusha. And I know where you're coming from. You're believing falsehood. And you don't have the Ruach HaKodesh. You haven't been set apart. We need to be set apart from the world. That means we are to act differently. We are to call upon truth, true names, not falsehood, not false names or titles. They're not going to save you. JESU isn't going to save you. God is not going to save you. Okay, Satan doesn't care. In fact, Satan wants to take you with him. Okay, part of his deception is to get you to believe that the Torah has been done away with. No. That's false. Shaul tells us to establish. We establish the Torah. We establish it. What is that? That means we do it. Not because we're forced to, but because we want to. We desire to. It shows our love to Yahuwah. It shows our love to Yahusha. It shows our love to our neighbor. If we love our neighbor, are we going to steal from them? No. If we love our neighbor, are we going to covet his things? No. If we love our neighbor, are we going to kill him? No. If we love Yahuwah, are we going to call upon his name? Yeah. If we love Yahuwah, are we going to throw other mighty ones in his face? No. If we love Yahuwah so much, what are we going to do? Because we love him, we're going to obey his commands. It's not that difficult. And his Torah is not really that difficult to do. It's actually pretty simple. You know? So, and as I found and dug in different places about the name itself, I found some things that might be helpful. As more and more people learn the name of our Creator is not Lord, they are listening to anyone they feel can help them learn more about the Hebrew form. The term Tetragrammaton is a Greek meaning 4 letters. It refers to the Hebrew letters of the name of the Creator, used in the inspired Hebrew scriptures. Yod, He, He. The true name is in some of the prophets' names, so they witness of it. But most significant is the Mashiachs come in the same name, share the first 3 letters, Yod, He, As people turn to the Hebrew sources for the roots of the belief, a Christian pastor is on the attack against those he calls Yahwites, since anyone can easily debunk the false name JESUS when armed with the Hebrew. The pastor wrote a scathing attack against the name and literally damns to hell those teachers helping to restore the true name. To accomplish this, he claims the 4-letter name was changed from Ahaya to Yahuwah by scribes. He then proceeds to prove that try to prove the name Jesus based on the Hebrew word Ahaya, and Hebrew word meaning I will be. In this article, his 37-page attack will be refuted to as the Jesus Manifesto, the JM. The name Jesus will one day be used by the impostor, the anti-Mashiach. And this is a powerful stronghold for people to overcome. Some pastors are asking how the name Jesus ever happened in the first place. We know the enemy is spiritual, and the sheep are easily deceived by any excuse if it comes from someone they trust. All men will know